Hello and welcome. To talk about a world that seems to be in geopolitical recession, we're joined at the India Today studios at the World Economic Forum by the big man himself, the President and the Chief Executive of the World Economic Forum, Roger Bronte. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Fantastic having you with us.
Thank you for having me again.
Your Congress convenes at a time when the world's eyes are on Donald Trump taking over as President of the United States once again. What's the general buzz that you're picking up by speaking to all the delegates who've assembled from the world over? How is WEF looking at Trump's second presidency?
So I think the participants are particularly happy that we will have Donald Trump the third day in his presidency live in Davos on video for an hour making a speech, but also having dialogue with the participants. That shows that Donald Trump appreciates Davos and the World Economic Forum. He's been here twice as president, the only president that has been twice in a row. And then he is underlining the importance of deals. And I think in Davos this year, you have a lot of realism related to the economic outlook, and we need to revive global growth. So the focus is on how can we make sure that we get closer to trend growth, 4% in the years to come.
President Trump poses the greatest threat to globalization, which in any case seems to have been in recess. How are you assessing the impact of potential trade tariffs that President Trump and his administration seem determined to impose?
It is true that it's a much different world than in the past. In the past, there was like a win-win thinking. What is good for you is good for me, and vice versa. No, it's more about competition and national interest. But even in a world where national interest is so critical, I think we will see growth in trade. Look at Trump 1.0. Trade grew globally also when he was president last time, and economic growth was strong. So I think there might be some tariffs coming, especially for those with a large trade deficit with the US. But we know also that Trump is a deal maker. He's also someone that likes to negotiate. So sometimes he put tariffs out there, and then we'll see what happens down the road.
How do you see the Trump presidency impacting a country like India?
So India is, in a way, fortunate because it's a country that has few foes, maybe a little bit in its neighborhood, but generally it's a country that has a lot of friends, and now we're seeing more friend-shoring, like countries then using countries they are friendly with to see manufacturing. That's why manufacturing is also now happening so fast and will continue to be located in India. So Make in India is a big thing. It's the right brand for something that is happening. And with Trump and also with Prime Minister Modi, you know, when he came, they coined this like Howdy Modi piece. I think for India, we'll have a good opportunity to continue a great collaboration with the US, and I think you will see more American firms also enlarging their manufacturing base out of India. And we know that services and digital trade is already important between these two countries.
President Trump is threatening to impose excessive sanctions on China. China is preparing counter maneuvers of its own. How do you see the China-America dynamic play out over the next 4 years?
More competition between the G2. You know, together they're almost 45% of the global economy, so it really matters. And they will compete fiercely on the new technologies, especially AI. But at the same time, Trump also can surprise. You know, on Saturday he called Xi Jinping and he said they had a lovely conversation and they discussed a lot of issues about peace and stability. Xi Jinping said peace and development. Let's see. I think there will be possibly tariffs. But you know, China is also in a different position than in the past. 20% of their export used to go to the US. Today they're down to 12%. So 88% of what they produce go to other countries than the US.
So the other big question is on immigration and deportation of illegal immigrants. To what extent do you think Trump intends to push through on the rhetoric that we've seen on immigration during the campaign?
I think it will be tough on the Mexican border. like having hundreds of thousands of people coming over the border, not controlled and illegally, I think he will be quite tough. On the deportation of illegal immigrants in the U.S., let's see how practical that is. It also comes with some trade-offs, you know, like the construction sector in the U.S. have 7 million employees. 2 million of them are illegal immigrants. And one of the other promises of Mr. Trump is to bring down inflation. And how do you bring down inflation if you then don't have those unskilled workers in that sector? So I think tough on future immigration, where there will be more visas, you have to apply for a green card, but I still think the U.S. needs a lot of people, especially if you're going to industrialize the U.S. again. He's saying bringing back manufacturing to the U.S., but then you also need workers, and those workers will have to come from somewhere. And I think also for example, India, that has been a major contributor to skilled labor, engineers and etc. You saw there was already a fight in the MAGA movement between those that said no H-1 visas. Elon Musk said we cannot build this country without great engineers from all over the world. And then Trump sided with Elon and said, Elon is right. We need the skilled workers. We just don't need those that are coming here in an illegal fashion.
You know, the charge that's being leveled is that there's an oligarchy taking shape, a tech oligarchy. Even President Biden spoke about it. How much does that concern you, that a big billionaires, trillionaires club now effectively controls the American government and to that extent has a role to play in shaping the affairs of the world?
So that's a very political question. I mean, you know, the World Economic Forum is a non-political organization. But it's true that during the platform economy that we have had with the social media, the winner took it all. If you became the most popular site, you were the winner. Now we're moving more into the new technologies related to AI. And you know, ChatGPT, no one knew what it was like 3-4 years ago, and now it's worth billions. So things are also changing very fast. You can be very successful today, but you have to work extremely hard every day because things are changing so fast. So if you look at the 10 companies with the highest market cap in the world today, many of them did not exist 20-30 years ago. So new companies today can be the new unicorns, and then the unicorns can become the largest companies in the world in some decades, and that can be different companies from today. So I think this is a changing picture of who are the winners.
In the build-up to this summit, you've written about disordered cooperation. How do you see a country like India playing its moves on the global high table in a way to be able to make the most of what you're calling disordered cooperation?
So disordered cooperation is finding a way when countries are competing fiercely, and they don't want to have other countries deciding about what they're supposed to do. But I think India, because of its size and growing size, if it becomes like a 10 trillion US dollars economy by the end of this decade, more and more countries also listen to India. It has more leverage. So I think India's influence will increase for every year that goes, and India is also in the situation where it then can work with one country on this and another country on this. But of course, Indian leadership is also sought after in the global south. So it will be interesting to see also the path that India will follow here. But so far, India is of course very close to the US and also to the EU, and the US sees India as important because it's checks and balances in Asia between India and China. And we see India and China meeting more and more. Like India and China meets in Myanmar, they meet in Bangladesh, they meet in Nepal, they meet in Sri Lanka. There is competition, and there US so far has sided with India, that's for sure.
We're seeing a new arms race in the area of artificial intelligence, particularly between China and the United States. How do you see that play out, sir, over the next 12 to 24 months?
It's definitely a fierce race between the US and China on who's going to be most advanced on Gen AI, but also on quantum computing. What is quantum computing? Is really about breaking through everything that we have of security measures today. A quantum computer can go into all the systems we have. So there is a race there, and that race will continue. And both of these nations, China and the US, know that the country that can be best and most impactful on AI is going to be also probably the most prosperous and most successful country in this century. So this race will go on, but there's also other actors that want to play a role there. EU is coming there, India, and others.
What's your worst nightmare? What keeps you awake at night?
So that is escalation of wars. You could see a full-fledged war between Israel and Iran. You could also see that Ukraine war was expanding to a broader area. You could also see things in East Asia getting out of control. I don't think it's the most likely scenario, fortunately. I think it's unlikely, but with big consequences, and especially for the global economy. We got the global economy back on the 3.3% track for growth. It's below trend growth, close to 4%, but it's better than zero growth. And these kind of escalations of conflicts can kill growth, kill trade, and make us less prosperous and poorer.
The World Economic Forum has been championing Ukraine's cause since the war started. Now President Trump wants to talk to Vladimir Putin and see if he can help reach some kind of a rapprochement. How do you see, particularly from Europe's lens, the Russia-Ukraine conflict play out over the next few months?
The World Economic Forum has invited Ukraine also to our platform. So President Zelensky has been speaking in Davos, and he will speak here also later in the week. That's true. And we are also saying that we are strong believers in the UN Charter and what we have agreed there. I think this year you might see a solution for peace in Ukraine. You know, Vladimir Putin thought he was going to take Ukraine in a week, and he's still stuck there, and he has lost 700,000 people, soldiers, and he controls 25% of the land. So Zelensky has been able to hold what we thought was one of the largest military powers of the world. No, Ukraine has become the 6th largest military power in the world themselves, but I think that there is no possibilities for finding a way for a future peace. But that has also to be agreed, of course, with Kiev, that also has suffered.